understudy, and who was a great friend too, was Tony Simpson, who eventually married one of the chorus girls there that was, I think the name fails me at the moment, but she was also a wonderful girl. Anyway, I went from there, from doing the ENSA into the army. I became, by the time I was touring at ENSA, I'd come up for military service, and I spent my couple of years in there. The war came to an end, and I'll go through that.
Do you want a drink or something?
No, I think I'll
Just be alright. Thank you.
The war came to an end, and I went on to trying to find how I could get back into the business. And I looked at the best place to look is the stage, which advertises all the people out of work or who are resting, that are looking for other jobs. And there was an ad in there for somebody who can handle marionettes and puppets to help in an alfresco open air show. And it was called Tommy Foster. And I went to see him, and he said, "Oh, you're more than enough to fill the bill. Marvellous." And we did a summer season, but Tommy wasn't very, very well. He wasn't a very healthy person, and that. And after doing it, we went to the second season. He was not working so much. I was working more. And till one day he said, I think I might have to pull out of this. But in the meantime, there was a couple of people, because there was a man on the beach was saying, Kitta, who was a jewellery selling, he's good in his business, he was success in his business, but he was selling things on the beach, said there's a girl that's with a young man who seems to be very keen on you. So I thought, there we are, really? Oh, that's interesting. What's she like? And so he says, she's been many times. I said, well, I think I know her, but are you sure? He said, well, yes, you don't keep coming to the show. She's been coming to the show with that tall boy. So I said, do you think so? So of course that encouraged me to talk to her. So when she came next time, I started to talk to her. And she said, no, in fact, interest is that my brother here makes puppets himself, and he's very keen on puppetry. So I said, really? So I said, John, you like it, do you? So he said, God, yes, I do. I said, well, that's interesting, it's marvellous. That's marvellous. Because why I say it's marvellous is that I'm having difficulty, because somebody in the show, Tommy, you've seen him, and said, oh yes, he hasn't been here much. I said, no, he hasn't. And the thing is, I've got to carry on the show. I would like to, if you're interested, the pair of you, said, oh yes, I'd like to, because I want to subsidise. I'm getting married, and I want to subsidise. And of course, I have a picture here of her. This here. It's a picture of her. She's marrying a seaman now, and he's. They're very happy. So that was the thought. Oh well, that's obviously that's a different reason, and the reason being that John is very, very, very keen on working with puppets, and so we learned a routine, and we learned marionettes, and we made other marionettes, and we started making marionettes now not for close range as we're doing on the seafront, but to work ready for the variety stage. And we made these puppets of the large puppets that could be seen. And to cut a long story short, when we got back to London, they had a thing called the Soho Fair. And we went to the Soho Fair and we did our puppets at the Soho Fair. They only did one, I believe, and I think I got it on film somewhere in my, which because we were very keen on doing, John was very keen on photography, so was I, so we had a thing in common as well as the puppets. And we also bought ourselves a 16mm camera. And another thing we both saw, and we had that we both liked. We saw King Kong, and we were both keen to do animation, stop frame animation. And while we were doing the summer season, we talked about it, planned it, what we could do, and how we would go about making records, pop records, into stop frame puppets. So when we got back to London, when we were resting, we made some of these films, stop frame films. And somebody that was at that, coming back to Soho Fair, invited us to come to the studio, Lime Grove Studio. So because they wanted somebody that's just like us, that's keen in puppets, doing puppets, and offer us a job at Lime Grove. And the guy was Jeff Hall. There was Jeff Hall and another guy. I can't. Laurie Lawler and Jeff Hall. Thank you. Laurie Lawler and Jeff Hall. Now, Laurie Lawler and Jeff Hall said, we would like you to be able to do some programs for us with flat animation. And we said, well, we do flat animation, but we mainly like to, said, well, there are some other producers that would like to do that in schools, be able to do puppets, stop frame puppets. And so I did this program for him. Was education program. He was very happy with, and so John and I said, well, what chance is there of seeing some of these people that would like see stop frame puppets? And we showed some of the cartoon films that we'd made. And then there were a lot of pop records like Spike Jones and the puppets. Well, to cut a long story short, they saw them, and not only saw them, but they used them. And we saw a big called Peter Whitmore. Peter Whitmore was the one that he made so many, it's no dubious that, you know, to tell you just the one or two that he made, but they were all successful shows on television in light entertainment as well as children's entertainment. And we showed him what we could do in the way of these puppets, and he said, could you do me for one every fortnight? Because he would like one every week, but we said it'll take us at least 2 weeks to do a 2.5 minute animation film. They were a success and led to doing other things in the puppet theatre. We also knew somebody there. There was a guy that was doing string puppets, which Gordon Murray. And Gordon Murray, we did this one here that's from the Gordon Murray, and it was a success. It was a string puppets for children's entertainment. And till one day they decided that the children's programs were going to be squeezed and cut down because they were trying to get a lot of adults programs into Lime Grove, and it wasn't really possible. They were trying to get more into such a small place. So they started to talk about building a place called the Centre, Television Centre. And in the meantime, they had to find a way to be able to do shows, and I suggested that in the tin shed where we rehearsed the shows, the show could go out quite easy if we filmed it. And they said, a film studio inside all that will cause a lot of trouble. A film studio inside the television centre? But there's a lot of arguments about it, but they said, what harm can it do? Just in a little tin shed, making us more children's programmes. And that's what we did. We made children's programmes in the tin shed. And these children's programmes, there were lots and lots of...
Got airplane, sorry.
Sorry?
Yeah, got the sound of airplane. There's no point.
I couldn't grab a drink of water. Mate.
Yeah.
No, let's stop.
Shall we actually have a break for now?
Yes, have a break. I would have a
Yeah.
We are starting from the
Yes,
cinema.
we're in Lime Grove, and they would like to.
Yeah.
They've seen it. I've just said they have seen the films, and they like them. And we went on to doing
I'm actually recording, so if you want to
Okay.
keep talking, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, I've got 4 productions that I'd like you to just talk a little bit about them, yeah? And
Yeah.
it's you and me, we start with you and me, and then I go on and remind you what the other 3 are,
Okay.
okay? You just talk a
Yeah.
little, go on as you were doing before, and then we jump into how you started with you and me and all that.
Okay, that's all right. That was the. Well, when do I know that you're going to be filming? When will you start? When?
He's on already.
He's oh yes,
recording
okay.
already, and
Right.
we were
All right.
when you asked to have this studio in.
That's right. Just
Coronation.
in Lime Grove. Was
Can
it?
you, can you repeat
Yes.
that?
No.
Yes.
Okay. So, so we were at Lime Grove Studios. We did many things there. We did for. We were not only entertaining for light entertainment, but we were also doing stuff to education for schools programs for Jeff Hall and Laurie Lawler, and they were very pleased with what we were doing, and they encouraged other people to use us so that we were fully working at the BBC, until one day that we had a music teacher from a program that said that they would like me to John to do a program for music time and a music show, and I don't think it was called Music Time, that came later, but it was called a music show, and he was a very skilled musician. He wrote his own music, and he also was head of the department for the music side of children's programs, and we did lots of shows for him, and that introduced us to a guy called John Hosier. Yes, I'm trying. John Hosier, and he was the main man who was supplying all.
Sorry, can we start?
Shall we start again?
Start from that introduced us to. Yeah.
At the Lime Grove Studios, we met a man called John Hosier. Now, John Hosier was doing music shows, and he wanted to do a program called Peter and the Wolf. And Peter and the Wolf was with string puppets. And whilst doing a string puppet performance, while doing this performance, we were having difficulty with trying to do all the things that he wanted, and he said, what's a shame that he couldn't get more out of the puppet. And we said, there's only one way that you'll get more out of the puppet, as John and I do. I don't know if you've seen it, but we do stop motion stuff. He said, oh, I've heard about that, I must have a look at it. At the end of the show, you must show me this stuff. And we did. We showed him the stuff we were doing, and it was light entertainment, and it was for Cracker Jack, for Lenny the Lion. Later on, at other studios, it was used for the Ralph Harris show, and there were all these shows per place that were using this sort of variety puppet, but it introduced it to now another element of programs, and that was music programs for schools, and we were very keen on doing those. And he said, well, this is marvellous, but he says, how long will it take to do them? And I said, well, it's going to take many weeks to do them. So he says, we couldn't turn out one, for instance, every week. I said, no way. We're talking about months. And so he said, how will you go about putting it all together? Can you do this? So I said, no way. We couldn't make the puppets and also do the animation. It's got to be a real organisation. And so he said, let's try and set it up if we can. And so he did. He tried to set it up, and he got various people that he thought was talented enough. And one, I'm lost for words now, names fail me. No, I'm looking for Alan Platt. Shall I start again for this one?
Yeah.
Right, and so he got together a group of people and one boy, and it's so stupid for me to forget his name, but it was Alan Platt.